Hi, everybody. Good morning. It is Thursday, February 10th, and we're here for my Intro Psych classes that meet online. So the online Intro Psych courses. And good morning. I see so many of you here, which just makes me so happy. I'm sorry to say that every week, but I'm always so grateful to have all of you here with me and see your names in the chat and have your questions and just everything. So thank you so much for all of you who are watching this live or even watching it later. That I appreciate that as well. But good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know if anyone else is on the countdown to the Super Bowl like I am. I'm definitely waiting for that and the delicious food that will come with it. Not enjoying the warm, windy weather though. This is not the weather that I would want in February. I want some cold, rainy weather. What is this nonsense? 85 degrees like tomorrow? That's crazy. It's crazy windy too, for sure, Pauline. I completely agree. My yard is a absolute absolute disaster. So I just won't go out there. I just won't look and then I can pretend like it never happened. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well, staying safe and healthy and hanging in there. We are in week number 5. I can't even believe it. We're a fourth of the way through the semester, one unit down, 3 to go, and week number 5 starting on Monday this week. So what we'll do today, a couple of things like usual. I want to give you some feedback from last week, talking a little bit about the discussion and then also exam number 1, which we completed. And then we'll look at the reminders and things that are due for this week. I'll give you the Twitch extra credit question and talk about that, and then see if you have any questions at all for me. Thank you, Anna. Anna Banana. I love that. I have a friend whose daughter's name is Hannah Banana. So Anna Banana reminds me of that. But thank you. Yeah, there's a bunch of you whose subscriptions have fallen off, but I'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to reminders. But thank you for figuring that out. I appreciate it. But let's go ahead and go over to Canvas. Let's look at some of the things that we have going on, and then we can go from there. So as I said, we are in week number 5 right here. But let's go back and look at last week briefly before we talk about the things that we have for this week. So last week we were looking at sensation and perception. We had a discussion and we had our first exam. So let's look at the discussion first, and then we could talk a little bit about some of the exam kind of pieces of information. Overall, really nicely done on the discussion. I enjoyed all the random things that so many of you smelled. A lot of you talked about some super common stuff, but then random items that you found around your house. And most of you had some associations with something that you smelled, or a couple of you had some like very specific memories. Whether you smelled anything that reminded you of something this time around or not, I guarantee that most of you have had a smell memory at some point in your life. And I don't know. I think it's maybe even more interesting than ever right now with COVID affecting smell. And I had one or two of you reach out to me saying that you didn't have a sense of smell right now, and we had to brainstorm on that. But I know for like my partner, for example, hasn't been able to smell anything in about a month, and it's wild how much your smell affects your taste, your memory, all sorts of different things. So I really enjoyed reading about the different associations that you had. Really nicely done for the most part. The biggest reason that people lost points was on numbers 2 and 3. So let's talk about those just for a moment. I told you this before. I really wanted you to go into detail about what smell memories are and why they occur. And several of you just didn't quite give me enough, right? You talked a little bit about, the proximity of the olfactory bulb. But I was looking for you to talk a little bit about like the connections with the limbic system. You could have talked about conditioning, some of the wiring things that tend to relate to this, stuff that you would have gotten from the Smell Memories article or even from the textbook. So a couple of you lost a few points here for not elaborating. That was probably the biggest point earner of this discussion, really just trying to show me that you understand why they occur and how they occur. And then a few of you struggled with number 3 as well. How could you use this knowledge in your life? What I saw a lot of in those of you who struggled was, well, now I know they're connected, so I can be more aware of that when I smell something that makes me happy or something to that extent. I was looking for you to be a little more specific, like when I'm missing, whatever, I can smell an item that might remind me of them. A couple of you said I might buy my partner a new perfume or cologne or scented lotion so that I always associate that with them. Or I might smell something specific when I'm studying and then smell it again during the exam to try and bring those memories back. So I was really looking for some kind of a specific practical application, but a lot of you did great. A lot of you earned, 13, 14, 15 points on this discussion. Really nicely done. I think kind of a fun, interesting one to do. And next time you have a random smell memory, hopefully you know what that is and why it's occurring. And so you can have that moment where you can explain it to someone if they have it as well. Don't forget to keep replying to a classmate. That is worth 2 points. So you always want to make sure that you reply to one of your peers. But most of you, as I said, did a beautiful job earning full points or really close to on that discussion. So hopefully at this point now that we're in week 5, you kind of have a good idea of what I'm looking for and you're answering things fully, getting those full points. And if you ever want to meet to discuss, some strategies, if you're not getting full points, feel free to email me. We can always set up a Zoom meeting at some point during the semester. The other thing that we had last week, we had exam number 1. And wow, so many of you did so well on the exam. There were a lot of like 73, 74, 75 out of 75 points on the test. A lot of fantastic scores. So many of you should pat yourselves on the back and be very happy. A couple of things about the test. So no worries, thanks for joining us. It's okay if you're a little late. A couple of things. So the average score was just shy of an A. So a lot of A's, a lot of B's, which tells me that most of you were really well prepared. You studied, you were organized, you were set to go. It makes me so happy that so many of you got a good grade. The average amount of time taking the test was right around 62 minutes. So 61, 62 minutes were really, really common. So most of you had plenty of time. You had 75 minutes in total. A lot of you finished with like almost 15 minutes to spare. So very nicely done. It looks like a lot of you had plenty of time on the exam. The high score was 100%, right? 75 out of 75. The low was a 23 out of 75. So definitely a big range. But as I said, the average was right around an A, a very, very high B. So a lot of you did fantastic. And I would really like to encourage you. I say this in every single one of my classes, but I would like to encourage you to use this exam as a learning opportunity. Exam number 1, we have 3 more left in the semester. And so if you did really well on this test, then what you did in this first unit worked for you. So keep doing it, right? If you got a high score or a score you're happy with, you can approach the second unit in the same way, and you don't need to change anything because you're doing great. But if you find that you wish you had done a little bit better, this is an excellent time to stop and reevaluate what you've done so far and see if you want to change anything. And I'll talk about that a little more with this week's stuff, but I'm kind of encouraging you to do that anyway. So if you wish that you had done better, maybe study a little more, complete the study guide. If you didn't do that, you could also study 1 week at a time and really focus on each topic as we go along. But again, a lot of you should be very, very happy. I hope that you found the exam to be very clear and straightforward. Again, a lot of you did fantastic. So nicely done. We say goodbye to the first fourth of our class. And now we are going to move into the second fourth where we talk about consciousness, learning, memory, and cognition. So some very core topics in the field of psychology. So before I move forward and talk about week number 5, are there any questions or comments, anything about week number 4, about the exam, about anything at all before we go forward? I'll wait just a minute here just to make sure. And again, this week we move into chapter 5, and this is probably one of my favorite chapters that we cover. The topic of consciousness is so interesting, talking about sleep and dreams and hypnosis and even drug-altered consciousness a little bit. So if you think of anything, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to keep moving forward. But for this week, chapter 5, make sure that you read chapter 5 in the textbook. Again, I think that's a really great place to start so you get that broad overview. And then you'll want to read through the lecture for chapter 5, following a similar format every week so you know what to expect. On page 1, you have the summary and objectives, all the things you will learn, kind of a broad overview of what we're going to cover, and you can listen to it or read it. On the Beyond the Book page, so many amazing things beyond the book. I had to narrow it down a little bit. I wanted to give you so much. But there are 2 fun videos here on change blindness and inattentional blindness. I hope you watch both of them. They're very fun, especially this one. They just push the limit. And this one, even though you know you're going to be tricked, even though I knew I was going to be tricked, I missed like everything the first time. So please watch these. They're only a couple of minutes each, but I think they're very great videos of those 2 phenomenon. There's a sleep tutorial video that I think is going to be really, really helpful in going over the different stages of sleep, what the brain waves look like in each stage. I have a little bit about nightmares and sleep disorders and energy drinks. And again, anything I put in here, watch it, click on it, explore it. It's going to help. Right? It's so funny, right? Watching, them change people, and they didn't even notice. It's wild how true that can be. Even they went from one of the last example, they changed from a man to a woman, from someone who was white to someone who was Asian, right? Like, I mean, just wildly different individuals. And yeah, the guy who was bald versus the one with hair. And so really fun. Again, I hope you take some time and watch both of them. On the 3rd page, in pop culture, there's so many movies. Uh-oh, wonder why that is not there. I will have to check and see. Strange. I wonder if it's like an internet thing because they were there this morning, but I'll double check when we're done today. But make sure that you check these out. There's a lot of great movies related to consciousness, right? So a bunch of them related to sleep. I have a fun clip here related to stepbrothers and sleepwalking. There's one here about Yes Man and effects of Red Bull. And I'll double check this. I don't know if they show up on your end or not. Strange for some reason. I will double check them later on and see what happened. Key terms in review. Here are all the terms from chapter 5 that you need to know. And as I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to start kind of preparing as you go along, you could always study the terms from each week at a time. So you could go through and make sure that you understand and are familiar with all of these terms, write them out, type them out, study them, and then next week you could add chapter 6. That's a really great strategy, and it makes it much more approachable because you're not tackling all of it at the same time. And then finally, on the application page, there's a little bit about dream recall, dream analysis, and getting help for substance use disorder. This video right here, this dream recall video and remembering your dreams, might be incredibly helpful for you for the discussion this week. We're going to look at dreams for our discussion, and if you struggle to remember your dreams, and many people do, you are probably going to want to watch this video. It gives you lots of tips on how to remember dreams and some kind of interesting things about dream analysis. But you will be looking at dreams for your discussion this week. And I also give you a couple of fun websites to check out if you think that dream analysis is interesting and wanted to know more. I love dream analysis. Just as a fun side note, I am obsessed with it. Like I dream a lot. I remember them because I work very hard to remember them. And first thing in the morning, it's like my partner and I always exchange dreams. Sometimes, you don't always want to share your dreams, but for the most part, we talk about them. I have a lot of dreams where I'm competing on cooking shows. And I think it's because I watch a lot of cooking competition shows before bed because they're kind of like mindless. And I love watching people cook and thinking about all the food that I could eat. But I had a dream just the other night that I was competing on Top Chef, and because I was watching Top Chef before bed, and Tom and Padma and Gail and all of them on Top Chef were there, and all of a sudden in the middle of our competition, I realized that I don't know how to cook, which is true. I'm not great at cooking. I make desserts really, really well, but cooking not so much. And so in the middle of my dream, I realized that I didn't know how to cook. I was panicking. I was trying to copy the people around me and see if I could fool them. I could look at the symbolic meanings of that and really analyze it. But I think it's honestly just because I fell asleep watching Top Chef, right? So interesting to think about dreams and what they mean. And sometimes they can be random. Sometimes they can be an extension of waking life. Other times they can be deeply meaningful or symbolic. So I hope you enjoy the chance to think about that a little bit more this week. So make sure that you watch all the little videos in here, check out everything that's in that lecture. I also have the lecture video for you, as always, where I lectured on chapter 5 with PowerPoint slides. Definitely watch that, take notes, pay attention. The materials there will definitely appear on the exam. And then discussion number 5 for this week, as I mentioned, has a lot to do with dreams. British Bake Off, that's another great competition show, right? I love all the food cooking shows for sure. So for discussion 5, as always, make sure you watch my little video introduction. I hope these are helpful. I did take a little bit of time to make them, but I think that they're helpful little introductions. I hope you feel the same way. So watch the video, read through and answer everything related to the prompt. Don't forget to read through at least 5 of your classmates' responses and reply to one of them. And remember that in total, this is worth 15 points, 13 for your responses to my questions, and 2 points for your responses to a peer. So for this discussion, again, you are thinking about dreams. So I want you to watch the little video above. I gave you some tips about how to remember your dreams, or you can watch the full one that I made in the lecture that I just pointed out to you. And then you're going to read this dream article right here. And it's brief. You can also listen to it if you would rather. But you're going to read, here are 5 kind of current theories about why we dream, very brief. I also talked about some different theories in the textbook, so you can use any of the ones here or any of the ones in the textbook. But then what you will do, once you've done all that, is you're going to select a dream that you had recently. Now, ideally, it's a dream that you had sometime this week, so it's fresh in your mind. Worst case, if you don't remember your dreams and you have watched all the videos, you've tried all the little tips and suggestions, and you still don't have a dream, you could even think of an old dream that you had. Sometimes we have reoccurring dreams where we have a very similar dream over time. Maybe you remember that one vividly. You could also ask someone in your life if they had a dream that they remember, a partner, a family member, a friend, whoever, and you could write about their dream and kind of analyze it with them. So you have some options if you're struggling to remember a dream, but you'll briefly describe your dream. You don't have to go into great detail, but tell me a little bit about it. Side note, if you have a dream about me, do not share it with me. Save it and find another dream. I had a student, it was like 7 years ago, who described in vivid detail how he murdered me in his dream. And I could never look at him the same way. So if you have a dream about me, go ahead and just keep that to yourself and wait for a different dream. It was a little awkward, right? So feel free to briefly describe your dream, but don't describe it if it is about me. And then you will describe and explain your dream from 2 of the different theories that you either read about in the article or in the textbook. In other words, how would those theories explain your dreams, where it came from, what it means, and all of that kind of stuff? Really, really important here. Make sure that you describe each of the theories that you selected enough to show me that you understand them and how you could connect them to your dream. If you just say, oh, it relates to dream theory number 1 and dream theory number 4 or 3, and you don't elaborate, you're going to lose points. This is really where I'm looking to see that you can take those theories, explain them, and then connect them to the theories that we've talked about. And then finally at the end here, and don't miss it, it's this last little bullet at the bottom. Why do you personally think that we dream, right? And it could be a combination of theories, but why do you think we dream? What do you think dreams mean? And you can, again, look at symbolic meanings here, or you can look at the different theories, but have fun with it. Enjoy analyzing a dream for credit. You had a dream where you killed your boyfriend's ex because she was sleeping next to us, but my boyfriend told me it wasn't appropriate to share. That's okay. It's all right if you want to share that one. Now that you've shared it here, now I want to know more. But that's totally, you woke him up to help you with the body. Oh, that's great. I love it. Right. You needed some plastic wrap. I'm thinking of Dexter here. But that's totally fine. It's just a dream. Now, if this was reality, don't share it with me. But it's totally fine. We have dreams about murder. We have dreams about stealing people's boyfriends and girlfriends and partners. Dreams can be wish fulfillment. It could be some hidden thing. Maybe you were really mad, at that person for some reason, or felt insecure about them, so you wanted to get rid of them. 3 a.m. and you were mad at him, right? Don't you love that when a partner is mad at you for a dream that they had? You're like, I didn't do anything. It was like 3 weeks ago. My partner had a dream that I cheated on her, and she was mad at me for hours. I was like, but I didn't cheat on you. It was just a dream. Let it go, right? Dreams are really interesting that way. It's okay if you murdered someone, as long as it's not me. You're welcome to share it. Totally, totally fine. And again, dreams are so interesting. It could be, symbolically meaningful, or it could be random, right? Oh, see, there you go. Right. So you watched Dexter all day, so you were thinking about murder, right? And lashes that they reminded you of her, right? So see, we're starting to see where the pieces came together here. Dreams are super interesting that way, and I don't mind if it's violent, as long as it wasn't violent against me. It doesn't matter at all. So reply to my posts or my questions here, and then don't forget to reply to a classmate, right? And a lot of you have already done this, which is fantastic. But you want to make sure you're getting those full points, those 2 points every week, and those are kind of easy ones to get, right? No worries, that's fine, right? And you can always add to it later and edit it later. That's totally fine. Okay, so there's one other thing that you have this week other than the optional extra credit, and I just want to touch on this. So I told you to always use the exams as a learning opportunity. And so to encourage that, you have a little self-assessment that you're in charge of completing this week. And this is worth 5 points. Please make sure you do it. You want to earn these easy 5 points. And this is going to encourage you to think about, how you've approached the class so far, and if you want to change anything moving forward. And you'll have a couple more of these through the semester, but this is the first one. It's due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. 5 questions, 5 points, very easy. But the point of this is, now that we've completed the first fourth of the class, the first unit, including the first exam, I want you to think about, how you're approaching the class. Is there anything that you want to change? Do you have any questions? That kind of stuff. So when you're ready, you'll hit take the survey. And you'll notice there's no time limit. You have as much time as you would like for this. So enjoy that, as much time as you possibly want. But the first 3 questions are selecting an answer choice. And please be honest. It's not going to change your grade in the slightest. This is more for your personal growth and reflection than anything. But I'm doing my part to learn as much as possible in the class. Pick the option that matches. On average, how much time have you spent completing everything? I consistently do the readings and turn in my assignments, select the correct answer for you. And then on the last 2, you're going to do short answer. What is your muddiest or most unclear point in reading the modules, discussions, homework, or course activities so far? Describe. If there's nothing that's unclear, type that. There's no wrong answers to these. As long as you answer them, you'll get full points. And then thinking about your score on exam number 1, is there anything that you plan to do differently to be more successful on the next exam or as the course moves forward? So again, please be honest. And if you don't have anything, type that. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with saying, like, I'm happy with my score. I'm just going to do the same thing. And then when you're done, you'll hit submit quiz and you'll get those 5 points as long as you answered all 5 of the questions. So this is a really great opportunity to think about your progress so far and get a couple of points for doing so. All right. And those are all the big things for this week: reading the chapter, doing the lecture, the PowerPoint video with the lecture and the slides that I have, the discussion, the self-assessment. And then I do have these last couple of things, last things to talk about and some reminders. But any questions for me so far? Anything that you want to ask or comment on for this week? And while I'm waiting for you to type that, let me give you my reminders and things for this week as well. Weekly reminder, as always, a lot of you, I mean like half of you, fell off this week with your subscription because we are in week 5 and it's only good for 30 days. So if you notice that you no longer have the football cake next to your name, please go back, go to my Twitch page, click on that little purple drop-down menu, and resubscribe at the bottom for free again. You did the hard part if you linked your accounts. Now you just need to resubscribe because it's only good for 30 days. So if I scroll up and I look through the chat here, if you look at the chat and you don't have a football cake next to your name, that means that you need to resubscribe. Your subscription has expired. So Janelle, Pauline, Solomon, let's see if there's anybody else. Anna, you figured it out. Anna Banana, you got it. I think that's everybody. If you didn't put your name in the chat, then I can't see that. But please take a moment to go back and resubscribe if it's expired. Just double check it every week. I appreciate so much. As I said, it saves me so much time if you're subscribed because I can download your name. So thank you so much for those of you who've done that. I really appreciate it. I feel like I have so much to do in life constantly, and then softball just started up with my kids, so I'm even busier. But thank you so much for those of you who've done that every week. The other reminder I have for you, our next Twitch live stream will be on, I can't type, be on Thursday, 2/17, so 1 week from today, Thursday, 2/17 at 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and so our next Twitch live stream will be next Thursday, same time, same everything next week at Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning. You will notice my background might look a little different. Starting next week, I will be doing the live stream from my office at school since in-person instruction is going to resume, which doesn't affect our class at all, but you might notice no more cats and a different background. For me, I'll be on campus. But please plan to be here as often as you can. Get those extra credit points for joining me, which will always make up for, maybe a low exam score if you missed a discussion because life was hectic. Those points will definitely be helpful. And speaking of, let me give you the Twitch extra credit question for this week. Kind of a good little review for the exam, which is weeks away, but it's always good to be reviewing. Your extra credit question: dreams occur almost exclusively during which stage of sleep? Dreams occur almost exclusively during which stage of sleep? And when you're ready to answer that, you will go back to Canvas, click on optional Twitch extra credit number 5, because we're in week 5. Up at the top, click on Start Assignment. And then in the text box, you can type your response. Okay, and then hit submit. When you're done, get the little confetti burst. There's nothing else in the confetti today, just confetti. But this is due by Sunday night. If you answer it early and get it wrong, I often grade them throughout the week, and I will let you know so you can try again. But this one I think is kind of an easier one. You just need to list that stage that dreams occur almost exclusively in. Feel free to do this, get those 2 points. Get your name into the chat if you haven't already. Unless you're subscribed, then you don't need to worry about it. But I think that is everything that I wanted to share with you. Yep, I think those are all of the points I had. Are there any questions, thoughts, comments, anything at all? That's the end of my official stuff that I have. So if you need to go, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I hope that you all have a wonderful week. I'm going to go ahead and say go Rams. I think I'm rooting for the Rams because of Cooper Kupp. He's fun. I like him. And he had such a great year. But more than anything, go food, right? I'm rooting for the food for the Super Bowl this year. Since both of my teams didn't make it, no stress. I'm just going to eat lots of food. We always do like some kind of Mexican food theme. I think we're doing fajitas and chips and salsa and rice and beans. And I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. So very, very excited to eat a lot of good food on Sunday afternoon. So if there are any questions, I will be here. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes. I am going to minimize my video just so I'm not staring at myself, but I will hang out for a little while if you have any questions. Rams versus the Bengals, right? The Bengals are the other team. Joe Burrow and Chase and the Bengals. You too. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. And I hope you're hanging in there. Enjoy the warm weather, I suppose. I'm not excited about it, but I'm sure some people are happy to have it. But yes, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful week. And I will hang out for a little while if you have any questions for me. Thank you as well. Thank you for being on here with me. Have a wonderful week. No, Pauline, I wasn't. So I went and looked under your section on the ebook site, and I don't see your name. So I'm wondering if you accidentally signed up for a different section of the ebook. So if you wouldn't mind checking when you log into your ebook site, what is the CRN at the top that you have selected? If you could check that later today and let me know, and then I will look through my other classes on my end and see if I can find it. I definitely want to get that updated for you. So if you find it, let me know. Okay, I will definitely look. Yeah, and make sure you look on your end as well too. The subscription will be that part is for Twitch, and you definitely didn't do that last step. So go through and do that last step of subscribing. But for the exam on the ebook site, check that CRN. Yeah, I have a feeling that maybe you signed up for the wrong section, which we can easily fix. But that would be why I wouldn't be able to find your score. Helping to remember what after reading, then test taking to retain. So we'll talk about memory in a couple of weeks. I think the biggest thing that you can do is just start early and do a little bit at a time, right? I think that's probably the best piece of advice that I could give would be to do a little bit at a time. And that way you're not trying to remember so much at when you go to take the test. So really good idea to maybe like this week study everything from chapter 5, and then next week you can add chapter 6, and then you add 7, and then 8, and so you're doing a little bit at a time rather than being so overwhelmed by trying to do all of it at the same time. Oh, for sure. Yeah, you had a rough start to the semester, but hopefully at this point we are, it's all leveling out and things will be a little bit easier. I certainly hope for you. All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and close this up because it looks like just about all of you are gone. Talking to myself. But if you think of any other questions later in the week, feel free to email me and reach out. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you all or see you all on our live stream next Thursday.